So Moco has a small problem I've noticed in chapter 2 I'd like to talk about inside today's video, and that problem is the worlds. And the problem is that they're crammed full of monsters. I feel there's just too many. You get overwhelmed a lot and you die a lot, especially when you try to do some daily jobs. Now on the screen you're going to see some b-roll of me trying to do my daily jobs in the Elite 90 world, the final world you do unlocked. And it was next to impossible. It was next to impossible for me to complete these daily jobs on my own. And that's the point. I feel like you should be able to go into these worlds and complete your daily jobs and things on your own without relying on teammates or running around in a death ball. I think you should be able to go in there and complete them on your own. Maybe die a little bit, you know, because we still want a bit of skill in the game. But the way it is now, you just repeatedly die and you can't even kill monsters. And it's just way too much. And you can see on the screen I had a daily job to complete kill an overlord and kill X amount of monsters. I think it was 125 monsters. And I just couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. I was fighting the Overlord and then I was being attacked by loads of different monsters. Then the Overlord was flying away. I was trying to chase him down. All the while, monsters were chasing me. I was aggroing monsters left, right and centre. I kept dying and it was just too much. It's just too much in the game. And by no means is it a shot at the devs, by the way. I'm just solely highlighting issues I see with the game and offer solutions, which we'll be trying to offer it later on in the video. I have got a list of solutions here, a list of ideas that might make this a little more bearable inside the worlds. And I think some of them are good ideas. So hopefully the devs watch this. They like some of the ideas I'm going to talk about. And we might see them in chapter 3. Because I've noticed this being a problem with other players as well. I mean, I am in some groups inside Moco. And all I see in the comments a lot of the time is help, 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 help. Because they're struggling with doing the daily jobs. They're getting overrun by monsters and dying a lot. They're just too strong. So I think it needs structured a lot better inside these worlds because they are an awesome part of Moco. It's a really fun part of Moco, especially when you're in a death ball. You run around in a death ball, killing everything, getting them projects completed to get the XP. It is really fun to do so, and it isn't a problem if you're in a death ball. But like I said earlier in the video, that's part of the problem. You shouldn't have to rely on joining a world and hopefully there's a death ball running around to join it to complete these daily jobs. The build I was using inside of these worlds was kind of a balance between health and damage. Yes, I could put a toothpick and shield build on, have a lot more survivability, but then I can't kill anything because I've got no DPS. And then again, if I put massive DPS build on, I'm going to die even more because I've got no survivability. So the build I was using was a Technophist build with a health ring, some vitamins. I think I had the R&B mixtape on there and the snacks. So I had a good bit of survivability. We are going to move on to some solutions and ideas I've got to combat this problem inside of Moco. So let's talk about those. So first of these solutions could be that monsters simply can't attack you when you're on your mount. Obviously you can't attack monsters when you're on your mount. Maybe it would be cool that they can't attack you on your mount, because if you've got a daily job, it's highlighted on your mini-map. You just want to sort of run to that location to kill that monster. But a lot of the time you get caught in between lots of monsters, they hit you, they take you off your mount. Can be a bit of a pain. So that might ease the burden of being in these worlds, trying to do these daily jobs. Just by simply not being able to be attacked by monsters when you're on your mount. So you can run to the enemy, kill it, complete your daily job without being hassled by the other monsters. So that is a simple solution. And this is also good for builds as well, because I'm stuck with the Elite Dash module. I've got to always have that equipped. Never put the heal and ride module on, but if I know monsters aren't going to attack me when I'm on my mount, the healing module might come into play, so then I can equip that, and then I might be able to take this health ring off and put a DPS ring on. So it gives you a bit more diversity with builds, I feel, with world farming. You can't be attacked while you're on your mount, so that is option number 1. Idea number 2 is quite simple. If you're fighting a mini boss, such as a Slayer, for example, in Sanctum Gardens, you'll notice if you're fighting him and you die, his health will start regenerating, which makes it a lot more difficult as well, especially if you're surrounded by monsters and you die quite often trying to kill this Slayer for a daily job. You die and then his health starts regenerating. It is a bit of a pain, so just simply remove that from the game. When you're fighting a monster, you get him down to half health. If you die, he still stays at half health. I don't understand why it has to regenerate. You know, it makes things much more difficult, so we could implement that as well going forward into the game. Stop the mini bosses from regenerating their health when you die. And this is an idea that Kairos Time had that I actually quite liked. So you'll notice when you're on a world fighting monsters and things, and you use your snow globe, for example, and then you die, and then you respawn back in, your snow globe's still on cooldown. How about removing that? So when you die in a world and respawn, obviously this is only going to be applicable to the worlds because it's going to be quite OP if you do that inside of Rifts. Can the team do that? I don't know because I'm not a game dev. But I think that's a nice little solution that would make a nice little quality of life change regarding these world farming issues, is that when you die and you respawn back in, your gadgets have cooled down. And also on the subject of dying, how about having a half respawn time in worlds? So when you die, you're only dead for 5 seconds. I can't see the point in being dead for 10 seconds because there's nothing on the world. You're only on there to farm daily jobs and projects and things. You're not against any time trials. Like for the Rifts and Dojos, obviously if you die inside of them, it's going to impact your times because a lot of players are trying to beat them in the given times to get the XP from completing them in like 3.5 minutes and things. So by all means, have a 10-second delay for your respawn time in the Rifts and things, because then that introduces skill element there as well. It's going to impact your time if you die. But for the worlds, just have it at 5 seconds. I can't see why it needs to be 10 seconds because you're not against anything or against anyone inside the worlds. So that's just a nice little quality of life change, I feel, that might be helpful inside the worlds, is just have the respawn time at 5 seconds. And we've got the idea I like the best, and I did mention this in chapter 1 in my 100% honest review video. If you did watch that, awesome. But this is implement the Aggro Meter. So on the screen, you've got an Aggro Meter, and the more monsters you kill, the more the Aggro Meter fills up. And then if you stop killing monsters for 5 seconds, 6 seconds, your Aggro Meter starts going back down. And the higher that Aggro Meter fills up, the more monsters are likely to attack you, if that makes sense. And obviously when it's empty, no monsters are going to attack you, so you can just run around the worlds without being bothered by the monsters. Get to the monster you need to kill for your daily job. Obviously when you kill it, the Aggro Meter starts filling up, and then the other monsters start attacking you, and it just releases that burden of being overrun by the monsters. And that's the solution I like most, and I think that's like the one-size-fits-all solution here, because obviously people like running around in the death balls. If you're running around in a death ball, killing everything in sight, that Aggro Meter is just going to be full, which is what you want when you run around in a death ball. You want everything to attack you, and you can kill everything, get them projects completed. So this is the idea I actually like the best, because I think it is the one-size-fits-all solution for this issue inside Moco, is add an Aggro Meter. And also just another little idea I had was you could have zones on the worlds where certain bosses actually spawn. So in the top left, the glutton might spawn in that area in the top left of the map, and then the bottom right, the slayer might sort of spawn in that area of the map, and so on and so forth. And have these zones on each world for each mini boss, and that way it's a bit easier to do some projects and your daily jobs, because you know roughly the vicinity they're going to spawn in. Because I've spent a lot of time running around worlds, Sanctum Gardens again, trying to find a glutton for a daily job, and I get to the bottom right corner and I can see that dot on my minimap, and then players sort of kill it before I get there. But if I know the general vicinity of where they spawn, it's going to be better for completing daily jobs, because I can sort of hang around in that area. Plus, there's some occasions where you'll be in an area and then a glutton spawns, a slayer, a spirit, drain of the vibe vampire, and you're surrounded by mini bosses. And it's, again, next to impossible to kill something when you're surrounded by that many bosses when you're on your own. So a little idea I had was just have zones where these mini bosses spawn inside of that zone. And another cool idea I actually thought of, and one of my viewers actually mentioned this as an idea to me, which I do really like as well. And it's add some sort of siren feature, whether it be a gadget or an extra button on the UI, whereas if you need help, you can press this siren and it like sends a signal out to the other players on the map inside of a radius, and you're highlighted on your mini map in gold or something. So the players that are doing something else inside the world, they get this siren signal from another player, and they're highlighted on the minimap. If a player comes and helps you complete what you need to do, then they get a little XP reward. So it's going to give players the incentive to go and help them, because they think, oh, this guy needs help over there. He's pressed his siren button or used the siren gadget. I'll go and help them, get a little bit of XP, potentially get a chaos shard, and then it's sort of worthwhile for other players trying to help other players. And I mentioned having it on the UI as a button, but I really think this would be a cool world farming gadget. The siren, where you can send a signal out to other players, you're highlighted on the minimap, and also do something else like give you a bit of health, because if that's just going to be the only case use for the gadget, where it sends a signal out to the other player, I really feel it needs to do something else. but I really feel it would make a cool gadget just for farming on worlds, because you have different builds for worlds and rifts and dojos, guys. This might be a super cool world farming gadget, the Siren. Send signal out to other players. You highlight it on the minimap. Other players coming out, you do what you need to do. They get a little reward. Everyone's a winner. And another easy, simple idea I've had is add emotes to the game with text on. So you can have a please help me emote or follow me emote. So when another player's running past, you can just tap the please help me emote if you need help killing a boss or some mobs. And I think that's just a super easy solution and get a bit of help inside of these worlds. But that's some ideas I've had. I have seen this as a problem. I've seen other players mention it as a problem. And like I says, I think you should just be able to jump in these worlds if you're on your own. Get through your daily jobs without being overrun and overswarmed by all these monsters. Because a lot of time I go in these worlds and I'm just dying all the time. And I just exit them. And I think I'll try and come back to them later and hope there's a death ball running around. But like if I'm on my dinner break at work for half an hour, I just want to get some daily jobs done. It's next to impossible. And I noticed this a little bit in chapter 1, especially on the last world. It was really difficult, especially with the stuns and knockbacks and the slows and everything that's inside the game at the minute as well. It's a super cool part of the game, the worlds. They do need a little bit of work in my humble opinion. And like I said before, this is not a shot at the devs because I absolutely love this game. I'm just trying to identify issues and offer solutions. Like I say, if the devs watch this video and I like some of the stuff I've said, or they take one of the ideas and build on it for chapter 3, that's awesome. That's what we want, guys. That's the things we need. Like I said to you guys let me know any more ideas you've got in the comment section. But it's super helpful. And this is actually going to be part of a video series I'm starting of what Moco needs. And the first installment is obviously this episode, the need to rework the worlds a little bit, in my humble opinion. And the next episode is going to be on quality of life changes. Moco needs these quality of life changes. And then we've got another couple of episodes lined up on the list to get through, which is competitive and endgame content. So I've got 4 videos lined up for there. This is the first video of this series. So subscribe if you want to follow along with that and turn on notice. And we'll catch you hunters in the next video.